I'm on TV. Welcome to a bit of company chat. Let's start the show.
Bit of company and a chat. A bit of company and a chat. Bit of company and a chat. What's better than that?
Hey Camerado, you're tuned in to a bit of company chat, and this is the one about the birds and the bees. Please join us in welcoming to the screen today's host, Catherine.
Hello, 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 and welcome to our show, A Bit of Company Chat. It is the one about the birds and the bees, but don't worry, that means all about the outdoors and nature. So I am really pleased that you have tuned in to join us this evening, and because this show is just about reflecting on our experiences and life over the last 12 months, as we've experienced an unprecedented shift in the way that we live our lives. A time in our life when we've found that toilet roll is gold dust. When, just in case you're wondering and you watched the afternoon show today, I'm still fancily dressed on top, but pajamas on bottom, because that's what we do these days when we live our life. A time when we have to remind ourselves to brush our teeth. And also, what's more relevant to this show today, I'm going to share with you a word that I've only just learned, but you might have been embracing friluftsliv. Friluftsliv. It's spelled Friluftsliv. And it's the Nordic concept of embracing the outdoors, whatever the weather, which I have to say I'm not that great at doing. But we have been collecting stories, and lots of people have been embracing the outdoors. So we have been chatting to folk across the Camerados movement, and they've shared their experiences with people all about they've shared their experiences through spoon rooms and through individual chats with people. And we've noticed that there have been particular themes that have come out in these conversations. And today we're focusing on nature and the great outdoors. And we would love it if you could get involved in the chat. So please say hello to one another, post your comments, reflect on the show. I'll be asking some questions at some point. There is a bit of a delay, but people do send them through to me. So it would be really nice to hear from you throughout the show. So if you are new to Camerados, if you are new to all of this, what does it mean? It is a movement of people across the UK and the world who believe that the best way to get through tough times is to be a Camerado. And that is just being alongside people. No fixing, just there. And before I introduce you to my fellow Camerado for the evening, my guest host, Brett, here is a short film all about Camerados.
Good morning, Camerado.
Good morning, Camerado.
How you doing?
Good.
People have that ability inside themselves to sort their own lives out. And I think what Camerados does, it gives people that human space to do that, and to do that together where everybody helps each other.
We are Camerados.
Hello. Right. Where are you, Brett? Come out to play.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm okay, I think. Although I needed a little bit of a nap after this afternoon show before today, and I didn't get it. But I'm going to roll along anyway. Roll along.
I watched it. It was really good anyway, so it was great.
Well, it would be really bad if you came on here and said it was rubbish.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've given me a really good way in there to talk about Camerados.
Yeah.
Part of what I love about doing these things for Camerados is they have a principle that says it's okay to fail. So we've not done this together before. and it's all right. It'll be what it will be.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like I've introduced the section from later on already. It will be what it will be. I'll come back to that later. Okay, so I ought to probably mention as well that you are joined by a little doggy this evening, seeing as though it's quite relevant to the theme, because it might make an appearance.
He may bark. He may bark. He may interrupt us. I hope he doesn't do the other thing. He may do barking, but I hope he doesn't do the H thing.
Okay.
Which has been notorious through the lockdown 1 and 2, which was a bit of humping.
Okay, I think we can say that in at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. It's humping's not too bad, is it?
No, it's not too bad. It is the one about the birds and the bees. We are slowly going off on a tangent here.
No. It's a segue into the birds and the bees, isn't it?
It's a segue into the birds and the bees. Weirdly, though, I can join you in that conversation because we got a rabbit during the lockdown, and the rabbit did the same thing. And I'd be in Zoom meetings in the day. Anyway, let's just carry on. Let's move on. So, Brett, I met you only during this lockdown because of the wonders of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for Camerados, we would never have met. Well, I've never have met all of these people who are in the Camerado movement. So there's a real silver lining to all of this, isn't there?
There is. And really only because it started to do more things online. We were forced to do things online. And Camerados have got this thing that they do. And look, I've even got props. So I'm slightly organised.
Okay.
But where we do a spoon room,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody can see. Let me show you the spoon. And where people gather together on a Wednesday at 7 or a Saturday at 11 on a Zoom and just be alongside one another. No fixing, and have a chat. And people from all over the world come. I'm doing a really good job at plugging this. And but I met you at a spoon room.
You did. And
we were in a breakout room together. And you are the guest host for today because of a story that you told me in that breakout room back in March. Last year.
Was it about solitary pollinating bees, Kat?
It was about solitary pollinating bees. Tell us about
Yeah.
Tell the nation, tell the world.
Well, no, it was actually a couple of years ago where I set up so there are around, a bit of context, there are around 250 solitary pollinating bees in this country, and I've made my garden into a bit of a sanctuary over the last couple of years, and it was really important through the first lockdown. And I'm getting solitary pollinating bees coming to a little bee house I made out of bits of scrap wood, actually, and a little kind of habitat CD case with bits of wood with holes drilled in to attract the solitary pollinating bees, and it has worked.
And it has worked.
That was fascinating. They tend to, through March and April, they go into these little holes and they lay their bee eggs, if you like, and then fill the holes up with wood pulp or whatever. And that's it till next spring, and then they'll come again once it's established. They keep coming back.
Yeah. It's the host of the bee party every year.
Yeah, absolutely, the host of the solitary pollinating bees. I'm not the only host in Derby, obviously, but I'm helping the bee population survive.
I love that. I'm not the only host in Derby. There are other places to go in Derby.
There are other places they can go. Yeah.
I know. I think that what struck me though in that conversation, and others that I've had in spoon rooms, and that we found through doing this project, is just how important the outdoors has been for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first lockdown was relatively easy now, looking back on it, and it was actually in spring, summer, wasn't it? So I was walking every day. I was working full time, but I was going for long walks every day, and I've probably taken about 1,000 photos, I think, of kind of, people will know me who follow in Twitter. I was taking pictures of pigeons, swans, bees, any kind of insect I could find. You
really were the nature guy, the birds and the bees guy to get in on this talk. Because when they asked me to host it, I was like, I'm the worst person to host this one because I'm a real indoors person. And especially in this lockdown 3, I'm being really bad. I'm noticing though it's having a bad effect on me because I can spend 8 days in the house and I don't go out at all.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I've been self-isolating as well for over a week. So it's been quite hard for me, actually, not being able to go out as much. So it's been quite tricky over the last week or so.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I've just been buzzed to the side because there's a few people that are your fans, apparently, Brett.
Are they? Have I got fans?
Yeah, but Veronica is here for you. Haley is loving the show.
Okay.
Brett has man fans.
Man fans as well. Is that because of the beard or the bees?
What
do you think? Could be the bees. Men have got beard envy. I get it all the time. It's just
do you? Beard envy. Bees or beard envy people? That was the question on Twitter tonight.
Yeah. That's the question we should pose later.
Yeah. Whilst we're chatting about all this stuff about outdoors, I mean, one of the things that we're doing these shows for is to sort of highlight some of the things that have really affected the way that we live and that we want to keep as we move forward with our lives in the future. And so I wondered, this will make sense to people later on if you don't know what I mean. But how we move forward, can't stop saying it now, in the future, because there are some things that we'd like to keep. And so one of the things that we really would like for people to put in the chat is like, what's your bit of action after this today? You know, what do you want to keep in your lives? And how do you want to see sectors or services or things that we use change because of what we've learned over the last 12 months? Because there are things that we want to keep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so maybe people can get those in the chat and then we can read them out later. But one of the things that I did do during the time of the great outdoors, the way I embraced it was to recreate a festival outside in my garden during the summer, and going on holiday to the garden in a tent became a thing for quite a few people, I think.
Yeah.
I couldn't house the solitary bees, but I housed myself and my family in the garden because that's as far as we could go.
Doesn't take much room to house solitary bees, though.
No, but it was great, actually. It was really lovely because I got to... my neighbours joined in, actually. As in, we put the tent up and we put bunting up. And like we told people we were going to play loud music, but they all played loud music as well. And it just became this sort of... and our neighbours hung extra bunting along the fence ready for our little mini festival, which was lovely.
That's really lovely.
And so I did enjoy doing that. But yes, this weather at the minute doesn't entice me out, even in the snow.
It's been very cold. I did get my 5-mile walk in today, but it was very cold.
5 miles.
Well, it's regular. It's obligatory 5-mile walk with the dog. Dublin, by the way.
Yes, dogs. Yes. See, that's another thing that we could talk about. You know, dogs. So many more people have got dogs now. It's like I've seen things like the hashtag not just for Christmas is turned into hashtag not just for the pandemic, I think. Because so many people, although that's one thing that'll change, won't it? Maybe more people will work from home. And so therefore the dogs will be all right. The dogs will be all right. Yeah. Right. I'm getting poked again that we need to move on. So you're all letting us know about what your bit of actions might be. But the other thing we need to hear from you is about Wonky Words. And I keep doing this today because there are some things that we want to get rid of as well. And being a Camerado is all about being more human. And we would like to see some of that jargon go, and we're highlighting it throughout these broadcasts. So if you've got any Wonky Words, please send them in to us and they will appear for me to see at some point. In the meantime, while you're thinking about all that and mulling all that over, and before we hear some more stories of the great outdoors, we're going to go over to Aunt Sally to her words of wisdom. So... Oh, that was the title card. I thought that was the film. That was good. That was seamless. I'm just sorting through my paperwork there. I think somebody's apologising to me. That's fine. That's all good. It's okay to fail, and we're making this up as we go along. Can we hear from Aunt Sally now? Aunt Sally would be...
Aunt Sally's words of wisdom.
We're all so busy at the moment. We're cooking, we're cleaning, we're homeschooling. Mom! We're doing just about everything. But what about our well-being? I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you with your own well-being. Tip number 1, lower your shoulders. As soon as you lower your shoulders, you feel less stressed. So go on, lower your shoulders. Number 2, get outside, get into nature. It's actually been proven that getting outside reduces your stress levels and therefore it's good for your well-being. Get out and have a walk. Number 3, get creative. Find something you enjoy doing. I found that I really enjoy painting and I think it's pretty good.
Don't forget to mention, Sally, that it's a paint by numbers.
Oh, all right, it's a paint by numbers. Number 4, listen to some uplifting music. It'll immediately make you feel better. Number 5, do something that you really enjoy. I enjoy a bath and a glass of champagne, but do something that makes you happy. If it's washing your favourite soap, just do it. And if all else fails, remember, whatever happens, forgive yourself. Cheers.
Aunt Sally's words of wisdom.
That was great.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
yeah,
I've put my glasses on because I've just been reading in the chat, and I've got some things I'm going to ask of you now,
Okay.
Brett, a little bit. Well,
Okay.
Jo Davis is spending every day drawing bees. I think you should.
Cool.
Maybe she could send you some.
Brilliant. Yeah,
She's also called me a wimp because of the weather, but that's fine. And Alfie says that he's got beard envy, but he also wants to know, does a solitary bee look different from other bees?
There's loads of different types. There's like grass cutter bees. There's not grass cutter, leaf cutting bees. They're all very distinctive looking, but they're pretty similar. Masonry bees that kind of bury themselves in masonry. Leaf cutter, you can always tell leaf cutting bees. They're slightly smaller than the masonry bee, and masonry bee are kind of red. And they tend, if you've got any plants in the garden and you've got like little holes in them, you know you've got a leaf cutting bee somewhere. And they tend to go under plant pots as well, under bottom of plant pots.
Oh.
So it's quite interesting. It's if you just Google solitary pollinating bees, it comes up with a whole range of them.
I feel like it's a whole new world that I didn't even know about.
Well, it is. It's a world of bees, isn't it?
It's the world of bees.
World of
exactly.
bees. Yeah.
Right. Well, there's probably loads more in the chat, but some of them I know that we're going to come back to later. So I'll have a look at that afterwards.
Okay.
So besides our stories of how we've been embracing the great outdoors, we have been chatting to folk in the movement, and so we're going to share some of those stories now. So can you run that film?
Gorgeous.
I went for a walk yesterday in the countryside at a safe distance with a friend who lives on her own, and it's tougher for her. She finds it a bit dreary, but she's taking steps. She's walking with me today to walk with somebody else the day before. She goes out for walks on her own. She goes in the garden.
My children like each other. They're friendly. They cook. We're more of a family and we're connected to what matters. So I don't feel scared this time.
I play netball. That's my passion. So we managed to get it back up and running eventually, and then but they had to amend the rules, so we had to play outside and they had to amend some of the distances, and then because we weren't in the same tier as other people, the place where it's actually played, we had to stop it, and then we started it again, and then it stopped again on Monday. So I thoroughly enjoyed my last game on Monday, getting absolutely drenched in the howling wind and rain. Savoured every moment because I don't think we'll be back until next year. So
just I wanted the fresh air to get out, and then gradually as I was coming to Sally and Alton's, that was helping me to be able to get out and go take Bentley the dog out for a walk, which was helpful. And now I've got my own gardens. Even though I'm not going to the gardening charity, I can plan what I'm going to do in the garden and get it all looking beautiful. So that's what I'm positive about.
A couple of months ago, I took my daughter to the cinema, and I was thinking, it was open. We've been encouraged to go out and do things, but I was like, well, I don't have to be here, and by being here, I am putting myself and others at risk. So should I? And it was the guilt. Should I go into the pub, going out for dinner? Well, I don't really need to be doing this. Should I be here at all? So that constant conflict between what I should be doing and what I want to do were kind of constantly at odds. So it's made me think about maybe just how selfish we as human beings are.
I remember there was one time there was a fly buzzing around the bedroom I was in. My wife moved into the other spare bedroom and I stayed in our bedroom. And Elaine doesn't like flies and wanted to let it out. But actually, I really liked that fly. It was my friend. It was like I didn't have to talk. It didn't ask me anything. It didn't make me cough, which happened every time I tried to speak. And it was like, it kind of made my day, really.
Oh, I
That
love
was lovely,
that.
wasn't it?
Yeah, so lovely. And in fact, actually, Math just made a comment about how he loves these stories. And he could listen to them all night. And I mean, that's been the pleasures of doing this, because these stories have been collected since like September last year. And there are so many of them. If you go to People's Voice Media website, you can just go and indulge it. But they're just such lovely human stories. The fly one, I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I know that there's a puppet film coming up about that later, which everybody can enjoy. But yes, Math also suggests that we project them onto the Houses of Parliament, which I would like to do as well.
That would be good. That's a good idea, Math.
That is a good idea. Make that happen. That could be a bit of action. Let's get these things projected into places where we think they need to listen to a story about a fly. But also, I thought that there was another story that was shared in there about the guilt of going out. And actually, in this lockdown, I feel like I felt that more because I don't know if it's just because the rules have been tighter or I've watched the news more, so I know what's going on. But it's like, well, am I even allowed to meet for a one-to-one to socialise? That sort of story is being come through the media about it's got to be for exercise and it's got to be for sport, and I don't do exercise or sport, so then I'm just like,
it's been very difficult, hasn't it? I think we've all been in the same position. It's there hasn't been any kind of clear communication around what you can and can't do. It's been a bit vague, and I think people are just tired with it all, and I think I've certainly felt the same, to be honest. It's like, okay, what can I do and where can I go? And that little voice inside your head. Yeah, it's been pretty kind of draining, hasn't it? I think this third bit, the third lockdown, as I think I mentioned earlier, is kind of the worst franchise ever. Lockdown 3.
Lockdown the trilogy is just
it's just the worst
wasn't
ever.
Needed.
Worst ever.
Worst ever. Yeah, it really wasn't needed, was it?
There's a bit of action there, Kat, from Hayley.
A bit of action. What?
Yeah.
What she said.
She's saying keep being in awe and nature and outdoors. Reimagine how we can use outdoor spaces instead of 4 community projects.
Yeah, reimagine how we use them. I think that is really important, about like just rethinking the spaces and how we use them and making sure that they have an impact on how we feel. I think we've really valued how much our environment can have such an impact on how we feel, and we could do
I don't know about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I don't know where you are, but we've got quite a few parks in Derby. It's quite a small place, but there's lots and lots of parks. There's plenty of places to go walking. It's quite a green place, actually. There's plenty of places to go.
Yeah, I am lucky. There are parks, there are canals as well, which is interesting to try and do a physically distanced walk along a canal. I don't really recommend that on a muddy day. Very close to falling in on a few kids. You just end up doing. I feel like I'm going to stand up. I don't know why. Oh no! Look, you can see my pajama bottoms. You end up doing this sort of like side dance along the canal.
Outdoor trousers on. I've got my outdoor trousers.
You've got your outdoor trousers on. Oh, so you did dress up for tonight. We talked about.
Well, I've been outdoors. I've been outdoors.
I don't know what that bit was that we just did. But yeah, I don't recommend canal side walking for physically distancing. It's a bit difficult.
Okay.
I'm also going to pick up on another story that was in there just for finally, or just about somebody was talking about netball and about how different sport is. I mean, I don't know how sporty you are. I'm not sporty at all, but I work with a sporty person. I live with a sporty person, and I feel like the landscape of sport has changed for a landscape. Oh dear, Catherine, what does that mean?
There's more wonky words, isn't there?
There's more wonky. We're just layering it all together now, throwing it all in for anybody who's wondering where the structure's gone. I'm
not that sporty, but I was doing lots of indoor climbing prior to the first lockdown, and a bit of outdoor climbing, but not a great deal, and some archery, which I've not done a great deal of either. So
yeah, no, I just think that. Yeah, how you play sport has changed for a while, and it's affecting a lot. It's become lots more solitary, like the bees. Oh no, imagine if we're going to end up having to live like the bees. Let's not go there. I don't want to go there. Right.
It's okay for bees, but it's not for us.
Yeah, so let's go to these bit of action. So we've had a bit of action from Hayley about keeping in awe of nature and the outdoors. We've had another one from Hayley to reimagine. Oh, you read those out at the same time. I was thinking a little about this. What would I want to see as a little bit of action? And one of the things I really have enjoyed doing is going for more walk and talks. And I think you've been for a few midday meanders, haven't you? That come around.
Yeah. I set up a few midday meanders. I think we went on around 5 or 6 to a different park every couple of weeks, and that worked really well for 4 people that I took. So we kept it within that kind of group of 6, and we did it every 2 weeks, and it worked really well. But then we got into lockdown 2 or 3, and then we had to kind of rethink it all really. And but that worked really well, and it really kind of help people stay connected, and that group of people are now supporting each other in a really lovely way.
Yeah, I think there's something about walking and talking which I've found to be so much more useful and productive. I don't even want to use the word productive, but it's just the thing about you're alongside somebody.
You're just
chatting. That you don't have to have any intense eye contact. You're not across a desk or there's not tables and chairs. There's nothing hard around you and you just get to be alongside somebody. And I just think it makes all walk and talks, even the ones I've had through work where they may have been about funding or they may have been about a policy or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They've been better to do like that than over Zoom or in a office or
it's quite hard to not go into that word productive, isn't it? But you get more from them in terms of connection and building relationships and trust and all of that stuff. So everyone can get more benefit. I think benefit's a probably good word. I don't know. I think we can end up having millions of wonky words, couldn't we? We're really
we're going to.
It's like we're going to end up going, is that a right word? I don't know.
Is that the right word? No, I know. I'm going to try not to overthink it because we're just chatting.
It's hugely beneficial to everybody, I think. Just a cup of tea, local park, chatting about everyday stuff, I think is really important. And it's been really nice to do that.
Yeah, I just think that I really want to see that sort of thing is valued a lot more in the future as being... I think I'm talking about it, I suppose, particularly in a work context. I mean, that Nordic, I've thrown all my papers everywhere, but that Nordic word that I said earlier, frulips.
And what was that word again, Kat? I can't remember it.
Oh, you're going to ask me. Look, I've got a scrape on the floor now. What did I say? I'm never going to find it. Somebody tell me what it was in the chat.
Doesn't
I
matter.
looked it up specially, and now I've forgotten. But that concept, that Nordic concept, has been embraced by lots of other countries, and I think some big, like, high-tech companies, you know, like Google and stuff like that, as a way of introducing how do you get the outdoors indoors during your working day. And I don't even think you need to make it very complicated and wait for a company to write a policy about it.
Yeah, we overcomplicate it as humans, though, don't we? We tend to overcomplicate it and plan it, and then you end up kind of tying yourself up in knots around what we're trying to do, and actually we just need to keep it really simple. Really.
Just keep it simple. Simple. And, you know, now my brain is going all creative. We could be taking, you know, if we're creating these little houses for bees.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny's going to be very excited by me. I don't know if she's in the chat, but she talks often about putting these little pods in places, like in public spaces, just where two people can go and
chat.
Just beautiful environments for people to go and chat and be and just know what to do. Because one of the things about the spoon rooms, I'm very good at looping all this in today. What the spoon rooms is, you get to chat to strangers, and I think I'd love to see if that was somehow replicated out in the great outdoors.
I'm sure. I mean, that's something that I think is we only tend to do if you go to the pub, or you know, traditionally you would go to a pub, wouldn't you, and go with friends and whatever, and you might end up chatting to strangers or whatever. You might do that in gyms as well, but actually we probably need to kind of do that more in the local park, or when you're walking down the street or whatever. You know, are we able to kind of make those new connections and get over our kind of I don't know what the word is. Try not to use too many wonky words now. But yeah, just reconnecting, I suppose, with everyone around us as much as possible.
Yeah. That's all we want to do. Simples. Simples. Right. Wonky words. Do that.
Hey, you. Watch the show.
They're quite aggressive, those puppets, aren't they? Hey, you, watch the show. Right, have we got any wonky words? I'll read a couple from the chat, and then maybe you could be thinking about what yours might be, Brett. Although we've said loads.
Well, I think we've talked quite a few, haven't we? I've got loads stacking up behind me.
Service user.
I've hated that one for about 15 years.
Is that still a big one in your sector? Yeah, I don't really hear that one anymore. I mean,
it still gets used. But I'm a service user, aren't I? I use services.
I use services, yes. It's just a weird word.
It's weird, yeah.
New normal? It just happens to go there. Do you know, I saw that actually earlier on the chat. That's from Phil. I nearly said that word tonight. I nearly wrote a whole section in my intro about the new normal. I'm so glad I didn't, Phil. I'm so glad I didn't go there. Or maybe I did say it, and that's why he's pointing it out. I don't know.
Landscape policies. There's loads of them, isn't there? Landscapes are kind of you.
I said that.
Oh, did you?
I said the landscape of sport. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. It makes sense. No, we're not going to go there. These are all policies. I don't know if you're. I think the main thing about policies is that we just don't need so many of them.
We can get tied up with them, can't we? It's just like
we get very tied up with them.
Absolutely, it just kind of stifles creativity and stifles. Everyone becomes so risk averse because they're afraid of kind of breaking a policy or not adhering to one.
I think that people think that more things will go wrong if they don't have them, but actually, the less you have, the more conversations you end up having, and the more understanding you generate.
Yeah.
But I think fear means it's got to be in writing. Hi, Dublin.
Yeah, that's Dublin. He's barking. I don't know what he wants, but he's being quite vocal.
Yeah, no, that's good. He's like, you've had enough time now.
Yeah.
On that computer. Come and play with me. Well, Well, I'll let you pay him a bit of attention. So we'll watch a little film. I think we're going to hear from some puppets. So these puppets, they've got stories from real life people laid over the top of them. They're not just, but we talk a lot about in Camerados about Be More Human. So we thought we'd enter the world of Be More Puppet for a little bit, because at this moment in time, it's live puppet, but not as we know it. Run that.
Hello. Hi. We are back, baby. Yay! Camerados are letting us back out to play for a bit of company chat. Can I come play too? Sure. Ooh, look at this! I'm on the television. I'm on TV. Ooh,
We have a dog. I did lots of dog walking. That was, a bit of sanity, just getting out and walking the dog.
There was a fly buzzing around the bedroom I was in. I really liked that fly. It was my friend. It was like, it didn't ask me anything. It didn't make me cough, which happened every time I tried to speak. It kind of made my day, really.
That was great.
I really shouldn't laugh at my own jokes.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm involved with making those films, and I do them because they make me laugh. I have to say that the puppet walking one was my thighs, the power of the thigh needed. But I thought we could turn that into an advert for, we need more people to, there's maybe because people can't get dogs because they're going to go back to work at some point. So
they could get bees, couldn't they?
They could get bees, yeah. Build a house with bees instead. That's very true. But I do love the puppets. I don't know really what else to say about them.
They are fun. They are fun.
Sorry, a couple of other wonky words arrived. Disruptive.
Innovation.
Innovation. Innovation, I'm never going to. I like innovate. I like saying play more and create. And moving forward, no, I don't like saying that. But innovation, it's a toughie. It's a toughie.
That's one that's sprung to mind. Sorry. Bottom line.
Bottom line. The bottom line is, that's why we have pot-up policies, because the bottom line is. Well, I feel like, yes, I was just checking. It feels odd to me that we're at the end of the show already. It goes so quickly. I was thinking, it says goodbye on here, and I'm thinking, really? But no, that's really what it says to do the goodbye. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Brett.
No, thank you. It's been really good.
I feel like you're going to get inundated on Twitter for advice about solitary beekeeping.
I need to reconnect on Twitter, so that's good.
Yeah, and on Spoon Rooms, a few people have said they want to see you on the Spoon Room.
I'll do that as well.
I'll just point that out as well. And there's also so many people behind the scenes in making this happen. So in particular, Leon and Chris are the other side of our screen here, making all those things come up along the bottom and things happen in the chat, which is great. And everybody else that's been involved from Camerados and PVM to collect the stories and share their stories and make these broadcasts happen. It's been brilliant. But I also want to sum up by saying that I think one of the things that we've learned from doing this one about nature is that the great outdoors gives us an opportunity to rethink how we be alongside one another. And Absolutely. If we could reimagine our spaces and places and the quality of them and how we spend time in them and when we spend time in them, then I think that it offers a lot of potential for the future in how we connect and how we be alongside. Yep. So that is our learning point. Have I summed that up? That's our learning point.
You have. That's summed up well, Kat. Yeah.
Summed up well. And this is my last show as part of these broadcasts.
Is it?
And it is, because we've got a whole host of people involved over the next few weeks. Next Tuesday, please everybody tune in again at 12 o'clock and at 7 o'clock for the one, this is good linking. The one where we're all alongside. Well, that's good. And it's all about isolation and connection. Lots of stories to do with that have been shared over the last few months. And it is hosted by the wonderful Mafwa. I've got to say his name in a fancy way just to make it big him up a little bit. Ma foi, you're up next week. No pressure, ma foi. Right, have I done everything I was supposed to do? I think so. Right, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Brett, and I will see you all soon. Bye.
Sometimes we're all a little bit pants, a not so happy day when things don't go our way. And in between the rubber, the green, the roll of the dice, the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes, almost all the time, we're all a little bit pants, a tad under par, but that's who we are. And even finding rhymes is harder than you'd think. Sometimes we're all a little bit pants, a not so happy day when things don't go our way. And in between the rubber, the green, the roll of the dice, the way the cookie crumbles.